Over 25 years ago, two men by the name of Troy and Lex stood in the middle of a pine plantation, in the middle of the area that would soon be known as North Lakes, and prayed. And God gave them a vision and a calling to build a church here. And that was the beginning of the story of Access Church. From that prayer, others joined them in a lounge room. Soon the lounge room became a hall, and soon the hall became a large house where services were held in the garage and Sunday school and other meetings were held in the rest of the house. It was here in 2002 that Mark and I, and then two very small girls, stumbled upon this congregation. We had no idea how long we would be part of this group, but God knew. Not long afterwards, the church bought an abandoned shopping centre in Kalanga, now where Aldi stands. And that became church. Seemed like a really weird place to hold a church, but God knew. The congregation continued to grow, and we continued to seek a place in North Lakes to hold a church to no avail. It was frustrating, and no one knew what would happen, but God knew. Around 2005-2006, an offer too good to refuse came up to sell the shopping centre, and we moved to Launton. This seemed weird. We're now moving further away than God's original plan of North Lakes. What was going on? We didn't know, but God knew. In 2009, God provided an opportunity for us to finally move into the North Lakes area, and we took up residence at the North Lakes College. The vision was finally taking shape. God knew. Not long after, a congregational member happened to be driving along Discovery Drive and happened to notice for the first time a brand new community centre next to the sports field. A phone call was made to the local council the next day, and this very confused and very surprised woman said, "How do you know about this? I've just sat down from a meeting no more than 10 minutes ago where I found out that this building was available for hire. You are the first ones to ring. How do you know about this?" We didn't, but God did. God knew. So finally, we moved into the North Lakes neighbourhood. God's vision was really taking place. And somehow the leadership of the church found themselves not long after at the official opening of the community centre, where someone happened to mention and asked, did we know that the land immediately opposite where we were standing was the only land in the entire North Lakes area set aside for religious purposes? And did we know it was for sale? No, we didn't, but God did. And imagine our surprise when we found out the exact amount of money needed to secure this piece of land was the exact amount of money we had in the bank. God knew. God spent 25 years orchestrating the building of this church on this piece of land, and it still remains today the only church building in the North Lakes neighbourhood. God knew. He knew that the people of North Lakes needed his church, and they continue to need it now more than ever. As a family, we feel incredibly privileged to have been able to watch the mountains God has moved over the years to build this church here, and we have sat back in awe and wonder at his incredible provision. It's what's kept us here now for 20 years. God knew. And now we find ourselves having outgrown the needs of our congregation and the needs of this community. And we need to expand our church in order to meet those needs. And I am so excited about that. We are excited to see what God will do. We are excited to see the lives that will be changed and impacted through our continued involvement in North Lakes community and in this neighbourhood. I don't know exactly what that's going to look like, but God does. And we are so excited to be a part of this next chapter of Access Church.